In the bustling streets of 1930s London, amid the economic turmoil and rising political tensions across Europe, a small group of Irish immigrants and their supporters gathered in cramped meeting rooms. The Republican Congress's London branch became the Connolly Club in 1938, named after James Connolly, the Irish socialist and Republican leader executed after the 1916 Easter Rising. They were planting the seeds of what would become one of Britain's most persistent voices for Irish unity and civil rights. Many Irish people in Britain were working-class individuals who had crossed the Irish Sea in search of employment but found themselves caught between two worlds. In Britain, they faced discrimination and were often viewed with suspicion. Yet they remained deeply connected to Ireland's struggle for complete independence and social justice. Among those who were part of the movement was a young English intellectual named C. Desmond Greaves. Greaves would become the association's guiding political brain and later be known as the father of Irish civil rights. His vision would transform a small emigrant organization into a force that would help democratize Britain itself. The club's founding principles were clear: to promote Irish unity, defend the rights of Irish workers in Britain, and the Catholic people in Northern Ireland. World War II shifted the political landscape, and the organization evolved. In 1943, the Connolly Club transformed into the Connolly Association, broadening its scope and influence. This wasn't merely a name change, it represented a maturation of purpose. Following the damage to left-wing organizations caused by the Cold War and the setback of the 1949 Ireland Act, Greaves drafted a new constitution for the association in 1955. His strategy was revolutionary in its simplicity: to discredit Ulster Unionism in Britain by exposing discrimination in Northern Ireland, while building a coalition of British trade unionists and Labour Party members who were sympathetic to Irish reunification. The association positioned itself as a bridge between Irish and British progressive politics, employing a distinct approach. They urged Irish immigrants streaming into Britain's industries to join trade unions and exert their influence on British politics. This wasn't just about Irish unity, it was about democratizing Britain itself. What made the Connolly Association unique was its multifaceted approach to democratization. While maintaining unwavering support for Irish unity, they simultaneously fought for the rights of Irish people living in Britain and worked to transform British politics from within. They organized against workplace discrimination and mobilized trade union support for Republican prisoners. The association's campaigns were relentless. They organized demonstrations and marches demanding the release of Republican prisoners, often drawing connections between Irish political prisoners and the broader struggle for civil liberties in Britain. The association's newspaper, The Irish Democrat, edited by Greaves from 1948 to 1988, became the vehicle for this strategy. It didn't just circulate in Irish communities, it found its way into the hands of British MPs, trade union leaders, and civil rights activists, gradually shifting opinion on the Irish question within British political circles. The 1960s brought the fruition of Greaves' long-term strategy. As civil rights movements erupted across the world, the groundwork laid by the Connolly Association came to bear fruit. Greaves had pioneered the idea that a campaign for civil rights was the way to shatter unionist political domination in Northern Ireland, a strategy that the 1960s civil rights movement would take up. The association's work in Westminster was paying off. British politicians, educated through years of lobbying by the association, began discussing the status quo. When the Northern Ireland Civil Rights Association formed, it adopted many of the strategies that the Connolly Association had been developing for decades. The peaceful marches, the focus on democratic rights, the appeal to British and international opinion, these were tactics refined in the meeting rooms and demonstrations organized by the association for decades. James Connolly once wrote, "The cause of Labour is the cause of Ireland, the cause of Ireland is the cause of Labour." The organization that bears his name has spent nearly a century proving that these words remain as relevant today as they were when first written. In an age of global movements for justice and equality, the Connolly Association's story reminds us that sometimes the most powerful changes begin in the humblest of places, a small club, in a rented room, with a big dream of a better world.